Vice President Sara Duterte is seemingly not surprised by the criminal cases filing against her by the National Bureau of Investigation for threatening President Bongbong Marcos. Duterte on Wednesday, February 12, issues a short statement after the NBI filed charges of inciting to sedition and grave threats against her. Duterte only says the criminal cases against her are expected. Earlier Wednesday, the NBI filed before the Department of Justice criminal cases against Duterte in relation to her remarks during a live-stream press conference in November 2024. Back then, Duterte said she had already hired someone to kill Marcos, First Lady Liza Arneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez in case she herself would be killed. For their part, NBI Director Jaime Santiago admits that the agency was not able to identify the gunman that Duterte was referring to who agreed to kill the three. Duterte failed to appear before the NBI last year to give a statement about her Zoom press conference that was aired on various social media platforms. Instead, Duterte sent a letter through her lawyer denying she made any threats against the president. She also claimed her threat was maliciously taken out of logical context. Days after Duterte was impeached by the House of Representatives on February 5, the Vice President reiterated that she did not make any assassination threats against Marcos. Duterte is also currently facing complaints for grave coercion, direct assault, and disobedience, all of which were filed by the Philippine National Police. Senate President Chiz Escudero says the National Bureau of Investigation's filing of criminal cases against the Vice President Sara Duterte will not affect the upper chamber's impeachment proceedings. In a press conference on Wednesday, February 12, Escudero says the criminal raps have no bearing on the impeachment trial, noting the two proceedings may even be conducted simultaneously.
Walang epekto yon sa napipintong impeachment proceedings, walang bearing yun at walang kinalaman yun doon. Sa katunayan, pwede magpatuloy yon ng sabay, pwedeng mauna, pwedeng sumunod. Wala siyang bearing sa impeachment proceedings na isasagawa ng Senado.
According to Escudero, the Senate will not seek the same evidence to be presented in court. The Senate chief explains that the upper chamber as an impeachment court is a passive body, adding it was the job of the prosecution and defense to gather evidence.
Hindi kukunin ng Senado yan. Ulitin ko, an impeachment court, like any court, is a passive body. Wala kaming gagawin. Hindi to parang investigasyon ng Senado na mag-iiso kami ng sabpina para sa mga ebidensya o testigo na magpunta. Trabaho yan ng magkabilang panig ng prosecution at ng defense.
The NBI filed before the Department of Justice charges of inciting to sedition and grave threat against Duterte after she claimed she hired someone to kill President Bongbong Marcos, First Lady Liza Arneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez if she gets killed first. However, Duterte has repeatedly denied she threatened Marcos and his family members. Signed by 215 lawmakers, the complaint impeaching the Vice President cites her threat against Marcos as one of the articles of impeachment. The Senate can still convene for the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, even though Congress is on recess, according to retired Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Adolfo Azcuna. In a media forum on Wednesday, February 12, Azcuna points out that impeachment is different from lawmaking, wherein different rules will apply. Referring to impeachment, Azcuna says the Senate can still be commanded by the Constitution to do something other than lawmaking. To support this, Azcuna cites Article 11 of the 1987 Constitution, which pertains to accountability of public officers. Azcuna is a former member of the consultative committee that drafted the 1987 Constitution. In an earlier post on social media, Azcuna says procedures under the Article on Accountability are not constrained by matters of legislative calendars. Azcuna explains that a Senate trial shall forthwith proceed once the impeachment complaint backed by at least 1/3 of House of Representatives members is filed. He notes that even if senators are on legislative recess, the chamber has to convene, take the required oaths or affirmation, and proceed to trial. Senate President Chiz Escudero previously said that holding an impeachment trial during recess legally cannot be done. Escudero said that for an impeachment court to be convened, there has to be an ongoing session in the chamber. However, the Senate adjourned its session on February 5, shortly after the House of Representatives transmitted the impeachment complaint backed by 215 lawmakers. The Philippine Coast Guard says it spotted more Chinese vessels, including the so-called monster ship at Bajo de Masinloc. According to PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, there are now 4 Chinese vessels in Bajo de Masinloc, including the monster ship at China Coast Guard 5901. Tariela says the PCG was initially only monitoring the presence of China Coast Guard 5901, 3103, and 3502 in Bajo de Masinloc. But a new vessel, China Coast Guard 5303, was spotted approximately 103 nautical miles off Palawig, Zambales, and 134 nautical miles from Bajo de Masinloc. According to Tariela, China Coast Guard 5303 left China on February 10. Aside from these vessels in Bajo de Masinloc, the PCG also confirmed the presence of one of China's largest fisheries research ships, Lanhai 101, within the country's exclusive economic zone. China's monster ship came as close as 54 nautical miles to the Zambales coastline on January 4, which gave PCG a compelling reason to deploy its flagship BRP Teresa Magbanua. Beijing's encroachments into Philippine waters are based on its assertion of sovereignty over the South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea. However, a 2016 international ruling dismissed China's claim and upheld the Philippines' sovereign rights over the West Philippine Sea. The landmark decision also includes Bajo de Masinloc or Scarborough Shoal, which was declared a traditional fishing ground that the Philippines, China, and Vietnam should share. One of China's largest fisheries research ships, which was earlier spotted within the Philippine archipelagic waters, is now near the Babuyan Island coastline, according to the Philippine Coast Guard. In an online briefing, PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, says the Chinese research ship Lanhai 101 was monitored about 62 nautical miles from Babuyan Islands at around 11 a.m. on Wednesday, February 12. Tariela notes Lanhai 101 seems to be going north and possibly return to China. The PCG official says BRP Cabra was initially dispatched to shadow Lanhai 101, but another Chinese vessel, China Coast Guard 3304, showed up. He says China Coast Guard 3304 took this opportunity to accompany BRP Cabra in following Lanhai. As of Wednesday, Tariela says China Coast Guard 3304 was spotted at 43 nautical miles off the coast of Pulinao, Pangasinan. Tariela says BRP Cabra is now on its way back to Zambales. In an update on February 11, Tariela said BRP Cabra confronted Lanhai 101, which was seen operating approximately 25 nautical miles off the coast of Pangasinan. BRP Cabra issued radio challenges and asserted that the Chinese vessel's activities fall within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. The PCG has been closely monitoring the movements of Chinese vessels unlawfully operating within the country's exclusive economic zone since January. Beijing asserts sovereignty over most of the South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea, despite the 2016 arbitral ruling that effectively dismissed its claims and ruled in favor of Manila. The number of Filipinos who are very happy with their love life hits a record low of 46% according to a social weather station survey. The SWS says the latest percentage of 46% who are very happy with their love life was 12 points lower than the 58% in December 2023. The agency also notes the latest figure from the December 2024 survey is the lowest in 20 years. According to the December 2024 survey, 36% say they could be happier about their love life, while 18% say they have no love life. The SWS notes that most married couples are very happy with their love life, specifically with 61% of married men and 54% of married women saying so. Compared to 2023 data, SWS says happiness with love life fell among both men and women across civil status, especially among men with live-in partners. 47% of men and 46% of women were very happy with their love life in 2024, compared to 61% of men and 55% of women in 2023. The non-commissioned survey was conducted from December 12 to 18, 2024, using face-to-face interviews with 2,160 adults nationwide. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.